Right, welcome back to Adventure 82. This is a bit of a spontaneous video. It's been the hottest summer that we've had in Jersey for some time, as it has been around the UK in general. And Queen's Valley, as you can see, that's supposed to be a reservoir, is pretty dry. The only water down there is a natural stream that used to run through it before they flooded it back in 1987. So the plan today is to walk down the valley here and see exactly what is left underneath the reservoir and if they've hidden anything underneath it, because we probably won't get this chance again. Also, it's a chance to test my new microphone, because most of you were saying that the sound's a bit odd with the camera. It's on and off, especially when I'm with other people. So I bought a new microphone and hopefully that will solve the problem. I know a couple of you have mentioned also lighting issues with some of the tunnel videos. I'm working on that one too, but in the meantime do bear with me, I haven't been doing this long and the stuff ain't cheap. So in the meantime though, let's go have a look and see what we can find about underneath, or if there's anything underneath the reservoir, and I'll give you a bit more history on the area and how it came to be a reservoir in the first place. Right, as we're walking along the normal walking path for the valley, I'll go through a few bits and pieces. Right, first of all, this walk as it stands wasn't actually a walk until the late 80s, because actually early 90s. They made a decision in 1987 to flood the valley down below there, where the reservoir would normally be if there was enough water, because Jersey didn't have enough water supply, so they flooded it. Queen's Valley, before that, was literally that, a valley full of a few farms. It was agricultural land, and it did have a walk, but the walk was actually down in the valley, not up here. So in that retrospect, people have been walking here for years, but not the same walk we're doing now. It's also famous for Bergerac, those of you who are familiar with 1980s television. First series of Bergerac, those of you who watched it, will be aware that Bergerac used to live in a farmhouse, and his farmhouse was down in that valley. Never know, might find that hidden under the water popping out, but I doubt it. But let's see what there is, and we'll have a look around, see if there's any bits and pieces laying about for us to explore. So right, now giving you some background to the area, let's go see what there is that's interesting. As you can see, this end's a bit fuller than the other end. It's a bit more than the stream. Eric will be so kind as to point the camera over at the reservoir for a minute. Now, good or bad, I'm not sure, but having a lapel mic means you can actually see my face more often when I'm on video, and I'll be behind the camera less. I suppose that depends on how much I like seeing my face. Anyway, besides that, you can see it's a bit more full here. I'm not quite sure exactly how deep it is at this point, but you can see how high up it would normally be. You can see all the stones, and in fact it would actually come up slightly above that, and it'd be up near where the pathway is there at the background. So with that in mind, you can see how the different layers of rock as well, how they've excavated it before they flooded it back in 1987, which I think is quite cool. You wouldn't normally see all this. Back down this way, a bit slightly further down the path, there's the area where you used to come up from the lower section of the walk back before they flooded it in the 80s. We used to come up to this level and then walk around, and you'd end up going back down into the valley again. So let's go see what's left of that bit now. Right, these stones here actually mark where the old path used to come up. This is what's left of the old path, this bit that goes down here to now, I believe it's just a jetty now. I'm not sure if it's for the fishing club, because I know they're allowed to fish here, or whether it's for Jersey Waterworks who own the reservoir, but one of the two. But you would have, back in the day, walked up here, and then the walk would have gone on along here where it does now, and then further down it would actually cross the road and it came back round down into the valley. But that bit's gone. I will show you the broken road, that's still there on the other side of it when we get around the other side of the valley. But so now what we'll do is we'll go over to this bridge slash dam in the middle of the section of the main reservoir here. We'll have a look at what we can see from there, and also I'll show you how low the water level is compared to where it would be regularly. So we're on the bridge dam. This would normally have this has like an overflow where the water from this side can flow over down and into the opposite side there. But if Eric is so kind as to come over near the edge, we'll see that's not really an issue at the moment. That water is nowhere near high enough to be overflowing any time in the near future. In fact, if you look at the granite building, you'll have to forgive me, I don't know what it's called. It's got a little ruler on it, and you can see how high up that water would normally be. It's normally on, looks like roundabouts on the second 3 there, and it's dropped right down there. What is quite cool to see though is you can see from here on both sides. You can see on this one, you can see the natural rock face, which probably hasn't been seen for quite some time. It's not been this low, not that I remember anyway, from the 80s. And you can also see over here part of natural rock face and partly where they've excavated it, and you can also see in the distance there the jetty. That's another example of just how low this water is at the moment. The other end, which we're about to work our way up to, is like I said, that's where there used to be farms and things. Be interested to see if there's any buildings, anything hidden under said water, or whether they were completely demolished and removed, because if I'm honest, I don't know. And when they started doing the excavation and flooding in 1987, I was 5, so I wouldn't have paid much attention. I'm paying attention now though. So let's go have a look and see what we can find up this other end now. Right, back behind the camera for a minute. You can see here what looks like a farm gate. This was, well, it still is a lane, but this was a lane that went straight through. You can see here at the edging where you can see where the tarmac's kind of been cut off. This road would have gone through here, down through this way and across, and then went to the other side of the valley. But as it stands now, obviously it was in the way, so they chopped a section out. If we come over here though, another rare occurrence, because you can see it, because they've added this ground that we're walking on now. This is put on top of that road. So if we come around this way, you can see here, I'll stand on this granite section so I can show you properly. You can see here the remainder of the tarmac from the road. They just didn't bother with that bit. They just took the edging away, and that road would have gone off down, curved around slightly, went off, and then came back up, kind of inside that dip there. Inside there, that's where the road used to come back up on the other side. I will show you the other side when we get round there. But yeah, so far there's been quite a few bits I've seen that you wouldn't normally see. You can see like here, how this bit here, this hasn't really been excavated an awful lot. All they've done pretty much is just cut away the greenery. Does make me more curious to see whether or not there's any buildings left, or whether they really completely cleared the site. Right, like I said, doesn't happen very often. So I've just found this bit here. It looks like, as long as I'm quite careful, should be able to get down and show you the edge of the reservoir. So let's see if I can get down here. There we go. Right, bear with me a minute. I've actually got someone following me. See?
Hello.
Right, give me a hand then.
Okay.
Jump.
Whee!
Right, so we're actually at the edge of the reservoir now. Which is a rare sight. See, all this would normally be underwater. I'm not sure Jersey Waterworks would condone me doing this, so if you are from Jersey Waterworks, I apologise, but probably won't ever get to do this again, or at least I don't know when I will. So look at that. So easy to see how much water has disappeared, and just over here, that's where that road curved off and went back into the valley, so I'll show you that when we get around there, like I said. But everything's so low. Queen's Valley, obviously all this would have been covered in grass back in the day. Doesn't seem to be any sign of any of the farmland, buildings or anything else, but very picturesque, however. So right, we're going to continue up that way towards the pumping station. That dam there that you can see, or I'm hoping you can see, I'm not quite sure, is the dam they built to stop the water going further down the valley. So once we go over there, I'll actually also be able to show you how far down the valley used to go. So we'll get down that way and we'll show you that next. Now I should point out, at the time when I'm recording this, it's beginning of December, isn't it? Yeah. And started out quite rainy, dismal today, and now it's hot, quite hot in fact, and very humid. So there's a random weather change for you. But I don't know if you can see, just think it's worth showing you. I don't know if you can see. If I show you through these trees, try and zoom in a bit for you. Just think it's amazing. Going through the trees, look at that. Look at the layers on that rock. I just can't help but think that's stunning. Now, I know I'm not the steadiest photographer in the world. I also know the camera is trying very hard to focus on the leaves, but look at that. That's just like a stunning pattern that's been made by the water on the rock. Right, I'll gradually come out now as to not make anybody feel ill, especially if you're watching it on your TV in your lounge. There we go. Right, so we're now at the pumping station, which is right in front of the camera. If we go just the side of the camera here, and again I'll probably need to zoom in a bit for you guys. So there you go, you can see here where this path here slopes down. That's the original path down back into the valley on the old original walk before it was all flooded. So that's still there. They just literally buried it in the water. Also, if we come over this way, you can see here where the tree line used to be, and that tree there has literally just been flooded by the water, and you can see where all the debris and stuff from where they originally flooded, it's kind of caught up there a bit. Just found the plaque. Like I said, 1987 they decided to flood this. I said probably early 90s I thought when I opened it. It is, see, look, you can sort of hear, see. 26th of November 1991. So yeah, we're knocking on the door of, geez, it would have been, what, 30 years ago last year? That's insane. Right, so yeah, 30 years this lot's been underwater. But This is just to inaugurate the impounding water, it says there, so I'm guessing that means that that's when they started letting water into it after they excavated it to start actually filling out with water. I'm guessing is what that means. If anybody knows any better than that, do let me know. But as far as that's how I would interpret that anyway. Right, so we're on the dam. If you look this way, obviously you've got the reservoir. If you look this side, now at this point it's going to get a bit weird because I'll take the camera off her because she's not brave enough to go to the edge. But
nope.
If we look down here, you can see how far up we are and how deep the valley used to be, because that's part of the valley. That was a farm or part of a farm at one point. You can see how far they've excavated. That's the main pumping house there, and the rest of it's a secondary car park. We're in the other car park at the other end. But I have to say, stunning view of Jersey from up here. Wouldn't be surprised if you get a couple of photographs of this at the end, just because Erica won't be able to resist. You probably won't get the apartment buildings, because but yeah, stunning view from up here. Right, you can see the path, the original one here is labelled unsafe area, keep out. Now clearly if it says keep out, you're not meant to go down there, but this is the original path that used to take you down. I'm going to go down slightly. See, it takes you around there and down to the water side. Normally most of this would be flooded, you wouldn't be able to walk down here anyway, but you can see how some of it's still here. Right, I mentioned a couple of times already how they flooded this in 1987, but what I didn't tell you is when the states agreed to flood the valley in 1987, it was met by a lot of protest. Not only by people actually over here who lived here, but there was two main people who were against it from the start for the amount of nature and stuff they were going to destroy in the process of creating this reservoir. Now obviously we know they never got them anywhere because the reservoir's here, but David Bellamy and Gerald Durrell both protested quite strongly back in the day to make sure that it wasn't flooded. Obviously, like I say, to no avail, but there was a lot of apparently it was a home to a lot of rare birds and a few rare butterflies and things, this valley was, which is why Gerald Durrell and David Bellamy were so keen for it to not be flooded. And you can see kind of why now, because this is how wild it is now with the water there. You can imagine what the valley was like back in the day, full of trees with a little stream going through it. We've got a picture of it like that with cows grazing in the field, so I'll pop that in for you at the end. But again, I just thought that was a nice little trinket of information to pass on. Right, now if you look there, you'll see that slope. That slope is, when we're back over the other sides where I showed you the first half of what was a road that went through here. Went out in that little alcove I pointed out to you on that part of the video where it used to come through. So if we come down here, thank you duck. Right, if we come down here, you can see here this is where the road used to come up through this way here, just through here, and it's come across here, and then it went off up there, which is actually quite a steep incline, I'd be honest. But that's where it was. Yeah, in fact you can see here piece of curb, and I don't know if that was added afterwards after they get up, but it goes quite a bit up. You can't see it clearly for the leaves, so I wonder if that was to do with that. For now though, we're off up this way and see if we can find anything else. Doesn't seem any sign of any buildings and stuff under here. I was told that Bergerac's house, like I said in the beginning of the film, was under the reservoir. I was hoping maybe to get a glimpse of it. I haven't seen anything yet. I'm not sure I'm going to, if I'm honest. So maybe, actually I'll turn this around, you just want to look at the path. Maybe it's not there. Maybe the water level hasn't dropped enough for us to see it, I'm not sure, but I haven't come across it, I have to be honest. But anyway, like I say, we're off up that way now. We'll see what else we can find whilst we're here.
The dog's walking me. The dog is walking me. It's on the video.
Right, I originally stopped here to show you how the water has made its own water line there. But also, what I have noticed, and I didn't expect, is this tarmac here. So unless there was another road, or maybe they've left some tarmac there that's normally under the water for when they access it to clean the reservoir, I don't know what that's for. If anybody does know, please let me know. But that's quite cool. So I wasn't expecting to find open area. The actual path that came up from the reservoir is down there. Goes round and goes off behind the camera here where Erica stood. Because she's the one filming, obviously I'm in front of it. So just down behind Erica is where the path goes back down into the reservoir area. It naturally comes up this way. The path here, looking a bit forlorn and sorry for itself, goes up and into what used to be St Saviour's Psychological Hospital. The path's been put there because there's actually flats and housing estates up here. There's also housing for the psychological patients and the ones that were up there living in the houses, and also some of the ones that were actually in the hospital itself. This was put in for to give them access to help with their therapy, because sometimes the quiet walks and things would help depending on what the psychological problem was. So that's why this here was put in. This path doesn't look like it's a very much trodden path. It's been completely almost reclaimed by the grass. So I'm not sure where that one goes. If someone does know, do enlighten me. Because I just don't have time to follow it today to find out. Otherwise, my curiosity would lead me to find out where it goes. But in the meantime, we'll go back down this way. We're now coming back to where we started, so we're now on the drier side of the reservoir. I'm sorry we've not found much in the way of buildings. I was hoping we'd find, I don't know, like a farmhouse or Bergerac's house, or even just like the remainders of walls or something to show that the buildings used to be there would have been nice. But clearly either the reservoir on this side's too deep, or they've just removed everything, because even on the dry side there's no sign of building or anything. Either that or there's a hell of a lot of silt down there, so I'm not sure. But if you ever get a chance to talk to anybody from Jersey Waterworks in a separate video, maybe we can clear that one up. Right, as you can see, we're down near the emptier end. Now remind me if I'm wrong, or do tell me if I'm wrong, and I'm sure someone will, but this area here with this flattish cliff face, it twigs a memory of me when I was a kid and coming down here to go for a walk in this valley before it was flooded, and I'm pretty sure you were able to park in front of that cliff face, and then you go off for the walk into the valley. So unless I'm mistaken, but I'm pretty sure it was in front of there. Right, so I've managed to get down near the bed. I'm not going any further than this because I'm not sure how sinky this silt is, but you can see here how when it's drained, what water's left still follows the path of the old natural stream. There used to be little like wooden bridges went over this stream, when it ran open and wasn't underneath the reservoir. But that day, those days are obviously gone. You can see here as well where your path used to go up and walk into the valley. So I'm pretty certain this was the car park area I was referring to, from back up on the top there. But stunning area. It's a shame it had to, they fear it had to be flooded, and unfortunately I fear that it may well be the case for some other places too. So we'll see, because they keep saying that Jersey doesn't hold enough water. The problem is, when you have an island 9x5, there's only so much water you can give. So, well, I'll have to go back up. Have you seen what I have to go back up? I have to go back up there. As you can see, Erica's wussed out on this one. She wasn't coming down. But yeah, so Erica wasn't coming down here because she wasn't too keen on the idea. She said it looked too, what was it, slippy? Sinky. I'm not even sure what sinky means. Okay. But anyway, so I'm now going to make my way back up. And I think, as I'm looking at how deep these stones are embedded in the ground, I probably made the right decision not trying to walk across. I really want to. Maybe if I ever invest in waders like Martin Zero, that'll be a thing. But until then, I'm afraid you're going to have to wait, because I've only got trainers on. So, with that in mind, I'm going to go back up here. And you probably don't want to watch me fall over my own feet. So I'll leave it here and then rude. She just said, yeah, we do. How rude is that? So yeah, I'll climb back up onto the path, keep my dignity, and then we'll continue on. Right, so we're back at the other end, as you can see. Completely dry, more or less. But there's a culvert here. Now, there's one thing I've learned from YouTube videos, thank you Martin Zero, is that people do like a culvert. So we're going to go have a look and see what's inside it, because I'm pretty sure I won't get to do this again because the water comes right up here. So let's have a look at what's inside this culvert. So look, oh wow, right, if I stand on this, look at that, water seems to come down from the side. We've got like a grate here to stop the dirt getting in, but so it goes right underneath and through to the other side, and it's got a little bit at the side there, which is where the water noise is coming from. You can see where the movement from the water is. It's all concrete. Got stalactites going on the bottom, on the top there, along the concrete rim. This is normally underwater though, so you wouldn't normally see this. So this is quite cool. So I told you there'd be stuff we'd be able to see that you can't normally see. Right, so that's, like I said, we're back now where we were supposed to be at the beginning end, whichever. So what we'll do is we'll find somewhere nice. We'll do an end video, and that will be that. And yeah, it's been far more interesting than I thought. I know it's quite different from my normal videos, but I do hope you've enjoyed it. Right, so that's the end of this video around Queens Valley. I hope you found it interesting. It has been quite different from other videos, but I've enjoyed making it, so I hope you do like it. I'm all this way to get out of here because you're not allowed to that way. They inconveniently lock the gate. So from me, and apparently the geese, I'll see you then. Oh, don't forget to like and subscribe. If I forget to say that on some videos, and you won't know this, but when the video's finished, I get told off by Erica, so don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you soon.